I hate when people do that, and especially with this past WrestleMania. Loved it. Thought it was gonna be a longer ending. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, that was weird, but
That was a weird ending. I'm sitting here on my TV. I said, okay, that's interesting.
as long as John won, though, I ain't care.
As long as he won,
Got my little John Cena right there.
Everybody, it's your boy Tyler Gates, aka TAG Law 205, back at you with another video here. Thank you for the comments on the last video that I put out. It was very, 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 very interesting, to say the least. The comments were interesting, to say the very, very least. But we're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep going. Once again, the subscribers, the likes, the follows, continue to like those up as we are on the road. We are on the road to 10K. Continue to do your job. And I'm surprised. I'm shocked from where we were last year when I started this up. So thank you. As you can clearly see, like I always say, this is not a normal video. I'm with probably one of the most decorated. And I'm not just saying that because he's on here. I've said this in my previous videos about you. I bring you up a lot.
Appreciate it.
Because you're somebody I look up to, in terms of the media side. You're definitely decorating in what you do. And I want to give you your props on that.
Appreciate it, man.
Really, man. So if you already don't know him, Justin Stuckey, everybody. Justin Stuckey. So
what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Yeah, man. So a few things about him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just let you, just introduce yourself, and kind of tell them what you're all about.
What's up, y'all? Justin Stuckey here, the decorated guy, as this man says. Yeah, man. I don't know what I always tell people. Once you get out of college, it's hard to tell what part of your life you talk about. I'm from Alabama. I'll just say that. Grew up in Alabama. Grew up in sports. Went to Sanford University undergrad for track and field. Went to Auburn for grad school in track and field. Was a 3-time All-American in track. Got some of the trophies up there. Really got big in the sports media once I got to Auburn. Started my podcast. Shout out Stuckey My Thoughts. Great opportunity there at Auburn, really, to branch out into the media space. It was something that I thought I could be good in, so I took advantage there. And I got hurt at Auburn, so it gave me more time to really hone in to that craft and meet people there. And Sanford was really great for my own personal growth. So I've done a few things. I'm sure you're going to get into it, so I don't want to take everything up, but a little bit about me. Love the Lord, too. Got to put that in there.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And then I definitely want to get into that because with me, all of my supporters know, even my family know, I'm no shame. I grew up in the church, and I will continue, to tell people, it was him that got me this far, and it's going to continue to be him that got me this far. So, yeah, you are a 3-time All-American. Now, personally, I was good at track. Not as good as you. Okay, I always started off great. I just never finished. I always came in second or third. I came in first one time, but that was because I was faster than everybody. That's what my mom always tells me the story. But you've competed in so many track meets, whether that's across the nation. How did you manage all that while being in school, while pursuing your career also? How did that all mesh in, and kind of how has it shaped your approach to your sports media personality of today?
Well, I think a big reason that helped me out during my time is I was surrounded by guys who were doing the same thing, guys and girls, my teammates. So one of my best friends, Titus Moore, he was my teammate, my roommate from freshman year. We had similar schedule because we were in the business school studying the same thing. So I had people around me that were doing the same thing. So that kind of kept me accountable. Also the self-drive. I feel like just growing up, I kind of always had that drive. And student athletes, somebody told me this the other day, they believe student athletes are the best people that make employees. They want to hire them because they know about their work ethic and the things that they strive for and accomplish. And man, being a student athlete, that's a juggling act because you have so many things that you have to do when it's regular school, because that's the reason you're there. Track is second, and that comes with practice, that comes with weights, that comes with focusing on how you recover, being in the training room, sleeping, traveling, all the things of that nature. Then a social life, the aspect of, the friends and the people you make. Then the aspect of trying to get involved on campus. I was a Sanford ambassador, and so I worked a lot with the president and all the donors and things like that. So definitely was a juggling act, but I always tell people I just take it in stride. Like, I was never the person to get overwhelmed with the schedule. I just write it out and just check off one by one. I really wouldn't be like at 8 o'clock in the morning, I would be like, dang, I got this thing at 5 p.m. Like, no, I would just go do my first class. Then I would go do my second class.
Just take it step by step.
So I think being a college athlete, I already had a little bit of that, but it definitely helped hone my skill set as far as the time management and balancing active things.
Yep. And even with myself, I didn't play sports in college, but I played sports in high school. And it was a lot. I went to a private school, so you already know about that. It was a lot of one-on-ones, tutoring, travel, media, because basketball tournaments, track tournaments. It was a lot of things going on, but I was able to manage it. I don't know how I did it, but I was able to manage it. So time management is important. That's for anything. You're gonna learn time management throughout life. So the birth of your, I'm so fascinated to know, and that's the reason why I'm smiling so hard, because I just, first of all, go subscribe to Stuck in My Thoughts. Please go subscribe. You have had so many known sports media, whether that's journalists, analysts, anchors, so on and so forth, on your show or your podcast, right? Especially the one I like the most is the one with Andrea Carter, right? Where you broke down and you broke it down and you kind of pieced it together and asked her these variable questions. And I liked how you did that. So how did you come up with that vision of, hey, I'm gonna talk about it? Not only did I play it, but I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna follow it. Like, how did the birth of Stuck in My Thoughts come to life?
It really came with me trying to figure out how I'm going to start the media thing in general. I had an interest. I'm not going to name this guy's name, but I was watching a commentator on TV, and I was like, he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. And I was like, I could do that. And so, as naive as that statement was, I really felt confident in my ability to want to pursue these things. I was already doing my vlogs at Sanford when we go to track meets and stuff. So I was like, I'm talking in front of a camera anyway. And shout out Lauren Sisler, who's an ESPN reporter, and shout out to Anaya Jones, who is now, she just got a promotion at ESPN, content associate, I believe.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Anaya. Anaya is the one who actually came up with the name. So I'm going to always give Anaya the credit. She worked for the agency that I was under originally for NIL, and she was pitching ideas and she came up with that. So I want to give her credit. But Lauren Sisler really is the voice that really got me to go and do it. And I was like, you should start a podcast. And she had her podcast and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's good. I just never really got around to it. But when I really focused and wanted to do something, Lauren Sisler was like, oh, this could be an opportunity to create leverage for yourself. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so I just went all in, called my cousin out in Nashville, because about the audio and video, because I didn't know a thing. And then shout out to my boy Trail, plays on the Giants now. He had just got drafted to the Broncos from Sanford. Okay. And I was about to go on a trip, and I was flying out of Atlanta. He was in Atlanta. I was like, yo, you want to be the first guest? And it went way better than I expected, honestly. And from there, I was like, okay, I got something. I can work with something. And I just kept using my own wheelhouse of connects and contacts. Lauren was actually on. My boy Matt Bolin was on early. So that's the first three. And then when I got to Auburn, I ran into Bruce Pearl at breakfast, and he was at an award event that I got an award for basketball in high school. And he spoke. So we had that little connection. I just asked him. I was like, yo, will you be on the show? He was like, yeah. And from there, I just kind of kept meeting people, being in the right place at the right time, and not being afraid to ask. But long-winded answer to your question, I just felt like it'd be the best starting point for me to create leverage for myself in media.
Yeah, it sounds like you had to like it takes for some people around you sometimes to give you ideas in order for you to start things, right? It's not always about, dang, it was my idea. No, something just comes along in a random conversation one day and it sticks. You
Yeah.
know, like with me, I had to do so. How this show came along, long story short, is I had to do a presentation for a class. It was a final presentation,
Mhm.
May in 2023, and I was like, okay, I know sports, so let me create a sports talk show for my project. Now, did I know it was going to be like this? Did I know it was going to come out to this? Absolutely not. But at the time, I was just like, okay, I want to throw something together just so I can get a good grade, not knowing that this was in the future. You
Mhm.
know, um, it went well. Obviously, I passed and everything, but when I looked back on it, I was like, you know what? Because my friends called me a sports almanac, and my mom calls me the same thing. So they were like, "You might as well just talk about it." So I was like, okay, fine. And I'm not afraid of the camera, so it kind of made it much more easier.
Mhm.
But as long as you can interpret what you're talking about and do it to the best of your ability, you'll be just fine. And that's what you do too. Like you break it down with those reels you have. I don't know if you edit them, but they
Yeah.
so good, man. So I edit my own reels too, but
Yeah. Appreciate it.
you on top of the game, man. On top of the game. Um, you've been very, very open, like you said. You've been very open and passionate about your faith, right? So how is your faith in Christ? How has He transformed your life from high school to college, but primarily in the field that you are in?
Mhm.
Have you kind of seen those doors open and then those doors close? Because we can kind of tell, some of those doors be like, hey, why did he shut those? But then we see down the line, there's a reason why he shut certain doors, open certain doors. So
Yeah, I'd say, I grew up in the church, always going to church. I credit my family for making sure I had a Christian foundation. But think the biggest thing is, especially like I'm from the South, you kind of be in what they call the Bible Belt. You kind of assume
mhm,
everybody
I'm from
grows up and is a Christian, but my town was primarily like that. I remember going to um, this thing called Good Company in high school, and it was at my teammate K. Pugh's house, and a lot of the town would go to his house, and we just have like praise and worship. Now, a lot of people were there just for the snacks and stuff, but it was good to have something like that early on. That was kind of like my first introduction to like a small group of some sort.
Mm.
Um, but like you have a faith, but I think in college it really was the time. My friend Cole Shiflett, and I got his picture right here from his wedding. Shout out to my boy Cole.
Shout out to Cole, man. Wow.
Um, Cole is a big reason of why I feel like my faith is really strong. We met freshman year. He's just such a people person anyway, but he gave me an invitation to this group called Sanford Multiply, and it was basically a small group within the campus. And the mission was you get people in, you build a great group, and then you start choosing people to be leaders, starting another group on campus. So you multiply. So that's what the name was for. And we had our principles. It was scripture reading, it was prayer, it was evangelism, and personal holiness. And that group, because I would read the Bible sometimes.
Yeah, but it's just
I would
like,
pray all the time, and I'd be really strong and sound in my like relationship, like going to church and consistent. But reading the Bible all the time was something I wasn't doing. And it started out as a challenge. Like I started reading every day, and I kept keeping track of the days, right?
mm,
Oh man, I'm up to 100 days. And then I just started really diving in and trying to understand what I was reading. And then you go through college, man. As a college athlete, like there's so many temptations out there. Like everybody kind of treats you like a celebrity. And I started getting really good in track as well.
right.
The good thing, the blessing part about it, I feel like was COVID like slowed us down, and I
Yeah.
got a chance that we kept the small group going. Then I got challenged with leading a group, and I think that really helped shift a lot of things and kind of put to bed a lot of things I was doing that wasn't in line with my path. Um, then I ended up being in a relationship, so that helped eliminate a lot of distractions when it came to that. I could just focus on track, relationship, my friends, like it was pretty chill then. But that helped a good sound base. Now going into the career path of things, it's like that real world. There's no safe haven, I guess you could
Mhm.
say. So you really got to prioritize the things that are important
Yeah.
when it came to my faith aspect, like making sure that I'm going to church, making sure that I'm reading, making sure that I'm praying, making sure that I'm doing things that are in line with my path. I just got off the phone with my boy Titus, who's like really close, probably my best friend, honestly. I told him that it seemed like things have always gone well, always been blessed, but these
Right.
last couple months have been really dry as far as trying to get things picked up in the career.
Mm.
And when I finally like put to bed some of the things that I felt were distractions, that's what it seemed like everything started coming in. So
Yeah.
I told him, I like made a joke, but I was like, man, you stop messing around, the blessings start flowing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to understand that even if things aren't going good, it's still a reason to praise him because you have
Mhm.
breath, you have an opportunity to see the next day, and things aren't necessarily going to go great every time, but
Yes.
you just kind of keep pursuing. So I think the faith has definitely helped me out, especially like during the dry seasons or times where I feel like I should be getting a certain role or a certain opportunity.
Hmm.
If it doesn't happen, I think I've gotten really mature of understanding, man, it just wasn't for me at the time.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what keeps me going and steady. And I've been tunnel vision, especially over these last 2 weeks, as far as like what my goals and what my efforts are. So I'm locked in.
Hey man, I feel you. You know, same with me. I had to, I was in a relationship, and it was going smooth, but of course there were challenges, as there's going to be in all relationships or friendships. And when I kind of set that aside, I moved on from her. It felt like things started opening up, right?
Mhm.
And that that's where I started to feel okay and see, dang, he needed me to yield to him in order for things to happen. And things were flowing, had Mina Kimes on the show. I got Dan Orlovsky coming up very, very soon. And you just see different things flowing. So at the end of the day, just trust him, right? And that's what I've learned. Just trust him, and everything's gonna work itself out. It may not be at the time, it may not be your time. It may not be your time to do that, but as long as you trust him, he's got you. He's got you. In terms of on the field, right? You say you were a very, very good athlete. I wasn't very good at track. I was good at basketball. You know, how how is it being front and center on, like, on some of these events? How is it being kind of a seer, right? And not being active on the track, as I would say, like, how is it off the field and how is it
Mhm.
on the field? Like seeing it from the media side and seeing it from the track side, because now you have experience from both of those sides.
Mhm.
You're like, dang, I was out there once.
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. Like as an athlete, I mean, you're in the mix, like you said, you're in the field, you're doing the preparation. In that side of things, like I'm practicing, I'm going to weights, I'm taking care of my body, all that type of stuff, and I'm going out there to compete. Uh, and I think I have a appreciation because I know what it takes, and I think that's the biggest reason why I wanted to get in this. Like I never wanted to get into this to be one of those people that they say always dogs athletes, because I know what athletes go through in order to excel at a high level, whatever that level may be. And I think honestly, it's the same on the other side
Mm,
because of the preparation. Like you're still working towards something to achieve a goal.
right.
Like I still gotta go study and know these athletes and know what they're doing. I gotta practice interviews and getting better and better, just like the reps and reps of jumps I'm doing or jump shots we're doing, or practicing route running, whatever it is. Like when it goes to the media side of things, obviously there's those times where like, yeah, dang, I missed it. Like I covered the track meet at the Grand Slam in Miami this past weekend, and there weren't any field events, so I didn't really feel as like, dang, I'm out of this. But I did feel like, dog, I maybe I should go go back and do some competitive, because I think the only thing that stopped me from, I know the only thing that stopped me at that time was my knee when I got to Auburn. And so that was now 2 years ago. So, it was with you in the back of your mind sometimes, but I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. Maybe I needed to slow down. Maybe I needed to shift to this path. Because I've done some good things. Like, it's not a thing where I miss it to where I regret not giving it everything I had, because I gave everything I had when it came to the game. And I had to learn how to love and appreciate the sport of track and field. But as far as like, it's work on both sides of the field. That's why I respected the people who were in media before I was ever in media when I was as an athlete. And now I definitely respect them now. And I respect the athletes because I know what it's like to be an athlete. So I think it's good to be on both sides of the fence. And I'm not a person to say just because you didn't do the sport doesn't mean you can't cover the sport. But I do think you have a different sense of appreciation and feel for it. But I think it's definitely, it's a grind on both sides. I remember I was in Vegas covering the summer league. I was up late taking notes and making sure I had all my game notes in order, calling with different teams, their personnel, trying to see who's playing, who's not playing. So it's a grind, So I think it goes to show that anything that you're trying to achieve worthwhile is going to take some work.
Right. Yeah, man. No, like it's like you said, especially being an athlete, whether it's at any level, high school, college, and then getting into the media side. Like we see a lot of players, whether that's NBA or NFL. You got Carlos Boozer, Danny Green, Kendrick Perkins. You got all these different players that are on the media side and can tell you, man, it was tough. Like having to listen to y'all all the time, but then they come to the media side and then they see, okay, I'm kind of gauging both sides. So
now I will say, just because you played the sport does not mean you can do media. I will say that. Like that doesn't, and vice versa. I feel like there always have the people in media that feel like they could have done what some of these people that are athletes are doing. I'm just like, that's not accurate unless you did it. So I don't think I know it's not for everybody, but the ones who do transition well, I feel like they can make a good career out of it post athletic career.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're going to get into our last question here, and this is always the bonus one. This is the fun one. You asked it recently, so I'm going to just ask it again. It's a trend. Come on. You already know what I'm about to say.
What?
The gorilla question. You already know you already know what's coming. I mean, 100 me's will probably take down the gorilla.
I
mean, what do you think?
I've been asking this question. I've been sitting on it. I think people are taking it a little out of context because people are talking about picking people. We're not picking people.
We're not picking.
Like I think you could easily set up like a bunch of people like a Braun Strowman or a James Harrison or Ray Lewis is out there that could take down a gorilla if you got 100 of them, right? But I think it's the average ordinary man. Could they take down a gorilla? I think people are underestimating how strong a gorilla is. Off rip. But I also think people are underestimating how many people 100 people is.
Like
going at something one time, I think is going to be hard. But this is the thing, though. If it's 100 ordinary men, I don't think they're winning because I don't think the ordinary man is going to want to go fight a gorilla.
Oh, no.
And a gorilla is going to try to defend his ground. So I'm going to take the gorilla versus ordinary men because a gorilla, all they got to do is hit you and you're really going to go down. Like you're not really trying to fight a gorilla.
You just gonna be out of breath, especially if they hit you anywhere right here. Really?
Yeah, like I don't think people really know the strength of a gorilla.
Right.
Small monkeys are really, really strong.
They are.
And you have a gorilla. So the ordinary man, 100 of them are not going to win.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if we got Braun Strowman,
they're winning.
Mark Henry in there, Big Show. Let me see, Braun Breaker. I can just go down the list.
100 Braun Breakers are definitely going to whoop a gorilla.
Oh, for sure. Now, if you want to go really little, like, kind of like lightweight, we could throw a little Sin Cara in there, do a hurricane run off the top rope or something. We could do
100 of them aren't beating a gorilla.
we definitely, I'm sorry, Sin Cara, we definitely can't. But a gorilla's beating 100 people. That's just.
Yeah, I think off fear alone.
They're gonna run this way. Like we're as soon as it starts charging, we're all going somewhere. We're gonna scatter or something. But that's the answer to everybody's question. It's one gorilla. Well, yeah, man. That wraps up everything today. If you didn't get anything away from this, just know timing is everything. Make sure to subscribe to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. It is a great listen. Every guest that he has, listen. You know, I'm a fan. You know, I've been a fan for a minute. I'm gonna continue to. So, yeah, man, Justin Stuckey. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. Definitely got to stay connected. Definitely got to stay connected. WWE is a big thing. Before I head off, WWE, people are underestimating it. WWE never died. People want to say that, oh, WrestleMania 40 is when it came back. No. The reason why WrestleMania 40 was so big and people that weren't even in sports heard about it is because, one, of the main event. Two, you had all these streaming networks. And then, of course, John Cena, that made it huge. But at the same time, don't discredit WWE. You know, I hate when people do that. And especially with this past WrestleMania, loved it. Thought it was going to be a longer ending. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, that was weird. But
that was a weird ending. I'm sitting here on my TV. I said, okay, that's interesting.
As long as John won, though, I ain't care.
As long as he won,
got my little John Cena right there.
All that matters.
He good.
I got this. I got the action figure. I got so many action figures. Literally.
Yeah.
As long as he won, that's all that matters. WWE never died, guys. Trust me.
Nah.
It never died. Never died. Now, if you want to talk about WCW, ECW, New Japan, that's something different.
Yeah.
But WWE, it will never die. It will never die.
Nah.
But yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. Definitely got to stay connected and stay live, y'all. Stay live because we got more coming.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tyler Gates, aka TAG Law 205, back at you with another video here. Thank you for the comments on the last video that I put out. It was very, 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 very interesting, to say the least. The comments were interesting, to say the